Hello, my movie friends. It's Mike with a movie and a beer. Yay, beer. I just returned from Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, or King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword. This stars Charles Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy. I never really watched Sons of Anarchy, so I don't know. But yeah, it also has Astrid Burgess Frisbee, Jude Law, the wonderful Jude Law, Ava. Someone who I think is really underrated, that's Jamin Hansu, a fantastic actor. I love seeing him in this movie. Another actor that I really like, but it seems that he spends more time driving a rally car than acting. That is Eric Bana. Also, Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones. He plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. Really very fantastic. Also, maybe a lesser known person, Tom Wu. He plays 100 Eyes in the Netflix series Marco Polo. And he is fantastic in that show. It's not a great show, but he's one of the standout points of the show, and he has a small role in this, and it's a really good role. Could have seen more of him, but yeah. Overall, I have to say that I actually really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I'm a little surprised because a lot of the reviews coming out of America, it's not a really good movie, but I saw it, I enjoyed it. I think personally, I really love the medieval themed movies in the medieval period, so I was really quite excited about going into this movie along with some of the cast, Jude Law, Aidan Gillen, Jamin Hansu, and everyone. Made me really excited about the movie, and I enjoyed it. I keep saying that, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think it's very unique because it is a medieval themed movie, but Guy Ritchie made some interesting choices in the film. One of those is modern music. So it was, at first, it's a little startling or jarring. You're like, it doesn't match very well. But after a while, you really get used to it, and it actually does match pretty well with the medieval theme. The other one is something, for me, at first, again, was a little jarring and made me kind of question the movie, and that's the use of a more modern British English in the film instead of a more kind of historical sounding language or English, which is what we do a lot. You have an historical drama, you try to match the language with that time, and again, Guy Ritchie's like, let's just use modern day English or British English. And again, after a little time, not much time, but a little time, you just kind of get used to it, and it felt right to me, and it matches and it goes well together. I also think that Guy Ritchie really creates a fantastic world. There is a lot of stuff that's going on in this world that is happening. Unfortunately, Guy Ritchie does not do a very good job of showing us everything that is happening, because there is a lot of magic and a lot of interesting things that happen kind of in the background that you don't fully understand. And I think that's a shame. There are a couple of scenes where you have like a montage. One of them is when Charles Hunnam's character is growing up, because we start with him as a little boy, and then we see him grow up, and we have this montage. That one doesn't quite work for me. There was another montage, and I think that this is kind of the main problem with the film is Arthur, or Charles Hunnam as Arthur. He has to go on this quest, right? He has to kind of, climb this mountain or something. Spoiler alert. Has to climb this mountain and everything. And again, it's done as a montage. It would have been better, or I would have enjoyed it more, if we actually got a little bit more. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't really get a lot of the lore or the understanding of the world itself. And it's a very interesting looking world. And I wanted to learn more about that. But instead, we have action, which is really good action, and I'll talk about in a second. But there's that, and there's a lot of people talking about what is happening, instead of really just showing us. I mean, they kind of show us, but there's always people talking about what is happening over top of it. And that just, to me, it kind of ruins it. I don't like exposition or someone telling you what is happening. I prefer to see what is happening and try to understand what is happening. But for some reason, it's just a lot of talking about what is happening and explaining to you what is happening. And it makes the visual less important and less meaningful. And it kind of ruins what you're watching. The action I think is really, really good. I really enjoyed the action. I think that if you have problems with motion sickness, some of the techniques that Guy Ritchie uses might make your tummy a little hurt, so you might want to stay away from that. But I really enjoyed it. I think the effects that Guy Ritchie uses for some of the bigger fights are really, really cool, and I really enjoyed it. But ultimately, it was kind of shallow, because as I said, we have this wonderful world that Guy Ritchie creates, and it looks very interesting, and you really want to learn more about it, but you never really get more out of what is happening. And it follows the story, and it just goes through the story, and it doesn't really do anything more than that. And the story is a little predictable, easy to understand. And so I just wish they could have given us more, because there was so much there that kind of behind the door that you really want to see. So it does end, I will say it does end in a way that makes you believe we could have some kind of sequel, or maybe 2 more movies set in this Arthurian time, which I'm kind of happy about. I would really like to see Guy Ritchie come back and make a sequel to this, so we get to see more of the world and learn more about everything that is happening, because you have the knights and you have mages, and there's this whole kind of history about the mages and everything like that. That would be interesting to look into. And there seems to be a lot more there that Guy Ritchie could have explored, and I wish he did explore. But again, overall, I enjoyed the film. not one of the best films of the year, but not one of the worst films of the year either. It was enjoyable. It was good entertainment. I liked that, Guy Ritchie really tried to do something very different here with matching the modern music and the modern language. And again, some really modern cinematography techniques, film techniques with this genre, and hopefully it will help to revitalize this genre of the kind of medieval knights and everything, because it's something that I really enjoy. It would kind of be like in Japan if they stopped making samurai movies, because we don't really get a lot of medieval time period pieces or anything like that anymore for some reason. I don't know why, but I've always really enjoyed them, and I think that Guy Ritchie does a really good job with this, with trying to modernize this genre. So I hope people go out and see it and give it a try, because it's really very interesting. Yeah. So my score. What is my score? Let me think for a second here. Beer. So my score is a good movie, a fun movie. Some parts that weren't that great, but still was fun. So I think I'm going to give this 3 out of 5. Yeah, 3 out of 5. I think it's a good film to watch. I think to really experience the movie, you have to watch it in the theater, especially because some of the techniques that they use in the film are just stunning. I mean, the movie itself is stunning. And seeing everyone in their costumes and the set pieces and everything, it's really quite beautiful. And because of that, I really do recommend you going to see it in the theater, along with again, this mixing of the modern with the medieval is, I think, the beer, sorry, it really is very, very interesting and a lot of fun. All right, so that's it for Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. If you're watching this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Have you seen King Arthur? Do you plan on going to see it? What did you think of the movie? Why don't you want to see it? Let me know. All right, until next time, have a nice day.